What's up, guys? You're on the Unbound Brian channel and you're watching Crossing Swords. Stick around. It's gonna be the spookiest episode of this year yet. Alright, all silliness aside, it is October, so it is spooky season. And since it is spooky season, especially since I'm pretty sure I'm cutting it close to releasing this video, today's Versus series is going to be
Lucifer Morningstar
versus
I am Vlad Dracula Tepesh.
Now, before we get into this, I do want to let you guys know, during the video portion of the fan fight portion of this video, I do want to let you guys know I did not use the Castlevania Dracula version for the fan fight version, but there's a reason for that. So I either had to make do with Lucifer or I had to make do with Castlevania, because neither Lucifer has no animated version of himself, of the DC Lucifer Morningstar character, so there's no animated version of him. So and that was the reason why I didn't pick him that's why I chose to do a different version of Dracula, because with Dracula, Castlevania's Dracula, there's no live action version of him. But the movie Dracula Untold, the actor that plays that Dracula very much looks very similar to the Castlevania Dracula in the Netflix series. So I figured I would just use clips from that movie, and that would just be representation of that. But obviously, at the end of the video, I will explain the winner and why. So, before we get into that video portion, let's talk powers and abilities, starting with Dracula, the first vampire. Alright, so obviously in Castlevania he's not the first actual vampire, but he's probably the most famous one, so might as well be the first. Alright, Dracula's powers include the standard vampire powers: teleportation, compulsion, can gain skills and powers of foes he's defeated, shape-shifting, and he can do it into all sorts of kinds of creatures, so real animals to different kinds of demons, etc. He has the ability to resurrect himself after death after 100 years, and has dark magic. And the dark magic portion of this superpower is ridiculous. We're talking all different kinds of spells, from meteors to fireballs to lightning bolts, you name it, acid rain. He's got it all under his dark arts belt. There's just way too many magic spells that Dracula can do to list here, but let's not dwell on Dracula. Let's check out Lucifer real quick. Now, this is the DC version, so this is the Lucifer Morningstar that the show, the Netflix series now, is loosely based off of. But we're actually comparing DC's Lucifer Morningstar to Castlevania's Dracula. So we've got two very specific versions of these characters, which there are many of. But the DC version's powers include matter manipulation. He has all the basic, angel powers, if you will, like super speed, strength, durability, and stamina. He's immortal, has a healing factor. He also has the ability to teleport, has telekinesis, pyrokinesis, telepathy, has the ability to fly, has hypnotism, and time travel. So yeah, this is quite the list of powers. So before we get into the fight, basically what this is going to look like it's going to come down to is, this is not going to be a fight really based off of the physical aspect of things. It'll be the outside abilities that really determine the winner. So let's cut to that. Let's cut to that movie, that little fan movie I've put together, and we'll see who walks out the winner. Alright guys, hold your pitchforks. I know all the Dracula fans out there might be a little peeved, but let's explain why Lucifer wins this fight. Now, first of all, this fight was way closer than you might think. Just want to preface that a lot of like the DC buddies are like, yeah, I knew he was going to win. Hold on. We're talking like he won by inches here, all right? Let's just go ahead. Now, aside from the fact that the video, the movie, the fan movie part of it was more physical than it would actually be of a fight, that's just lack of like, you know, media footage for me to use because I can't 3D animate things and I still want to make cool stuff for you guys. So, I made a fan one and I used the one that looks the closest to that. So, this is probably a one time I'll do that, but you know, we'll see. Now, that being said, Lucifer had one advantage over Dracula, and the fact is, Dracula is hurt by holy-based powers. Inherently, that is all of Lucifer's powers. So, Lucifer had that going for him, advantage, you know, haha, I'm still an angel, even a fallen angel, so ha. And then, of course, we had things like matter manipulation, things like that, so Lucifer could easily create holy weapons like that. If he needed to create something along those lines. As far as their physical powers, it's not very clear which of them is stronger. I mean, I've seen Lucifer, like, you know, toss people out into orbit. I've seen, you know what I mean? But also, Dracula's strength isn't exactly, like, measurable. So, I decided to forego the physical abilities because those don't seem like they're going to be that relevant for this particular fight. So this really came down to all their extra powers. Does the matter manipulation and all the telekinesis and teleportation, all that stuff of Lucifer versus all of Dracula's magic? And the answer was really simple. It came down to who could take more damage from the other. So there's matter manipulation, right? So you're thinking, well, could Lucifer just turn him into a pile of goo? Probably, but that's not really not Lucifer's style. He probably would use that more like when Dracula creates, like, say, a fireball or something and hurls it at him, he turned it into a bubble or something like that. You know what I mean? That's how his matter manipulation would probably more likely be used, because I don't foresee, because Lucifer doesn't take really anything serious. The next thing we have to realize is there are other powers that are kind of going to negate each other. So like teleportation, they both can do that. He has compulsion, which is vampire equivalent to hypnotism, so that's negated. So now we have like telepathy and things like that. Well, you know, shapeshifting can make that hard because one of the things, or telepathy, I'm thinking of like telekinesis. So, you know what I mean? Like you would be like, I'm going to choke you out. Next thing you know, you're like, ha, I'm a million bats, or I'm a mist man. That didn't work, you know, so that would be kind of like an interesting interaction there. And then there was just a few things that really gives Lucifer the edge. Is like two major factors. One factor is Lucifer's going to be more durable. His ability to regenerate and take damage is far greater than, I would argue, Dracula's. Dracula, like, sure, he took a meteor hit, but that's really cool and all. But there's literally a panel in the DC Comics where Michael used the concussive power of the Big Bang. This is what it takes to create all of existence. Blasted it at Lucifer, and Lucifer was like, bitch, please. Is that all you got? Throw me another. You know what I mean? So I'm like, damn! I just don't think Dracula has the ability to put the output of damage that would ultimately take Lucifer down. And, of course, Lucifer has one other power that Dracula does not currently have: time travel. Basically, Lucifer could go back in time and kill Dracula before he is Dracula, when he was still a man, because in the Castlevania story, he was a holy warrior before he was Dracula. So, obviously there are other things to it, like pyrokinesis, you know, and all that stuff, so if, like, Dracula used, like, a fireball magic, it wouldn't work, etc. Anyway, guys, if you like this episode of Crossing Swords, make sure that you put in the comments below what kind of Crossing Sword episodes you guys want to see in the future, and I'll add them to the list, and then I'll pick them as we go. Especially if they're really popular. So, you know, if you see if somebody's already commented the one you like, give them a like button and all that good jazz. Speaking of like button, like this video if you're enjoying it. I would really appreciate one of these. And also, guys, if you're new here, consider subscribing and leaving your input on how I can probably make this series better. I'm always looking to improve my Crossing Swords series, so make sure you guys stick around for future episodes. Next month's episode will be a lady battle, so make sure you stick around for that, because we're gonna see some dueling divas. Ha! I know that's a horrible joke. Anyway, guys, I'm Unbound Brian, and I'll catch you next time.